Hello, bonjour, Alberta. Did you know that at least 238,000 people speak français in Alberta? And those numbers just keep on growing? Oui, oui, c'est vrai, it's true. And thanks to Shaw TV Community Access Programming, we get to reach out to everyone to let you know all about special people, places, events, and activities happening right here in this great province, in both English and en français. That's right, mes amis. We begin the first part of our program in English, and then we repeat it en français. So stay with us. Restez à l'écoute.
Hello, bonjour, Alberta. Welcome to our show, everyone. My name is Anne Boiteau.
And I'm Marc Lalonde.
And today we are chatting with Kae Shummoogum, Gasonic founder, a champion, a true champion of the environment. Welcome, Kae.
Thank you for inviting me here. It's a pleasure to talk to you. As we start, I'd like to quote you something from Mark Twain. I'm from Mauritius, as you know. Mauritius was created first, maybe by God, but created first. Paradise was created then, and paradise is a copy of Mauritius.
Oh.
So where is Mauritius, for those who may not know?
Mauritius is about 2,000 kilometers from the east coast of Africa, close to the island of Madagascar.
So right at the south tip.
South tip.
In the Indian Ocean.
In the Indian Ocean. It's surrounded by water, so once you're there, there's nowhere to go. It is a very small island. It's probably the size of Calgary. It's only 16 miles by 40 miles.
How many people?
There's 1.2 million people.
Okay.
So it's fairly dense.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place with almost summer all year round.
Microclimate around there, I think? No?
Oh yes, of course there's a microclimate, and the climate is changing as well.
Even there?
Even there. We'll talk more later, but it is changing all over the world.
So you were born there?
I was born there around the 1950s, and spent 19 years in Mauritius. And Mauritius is the most wonderful place to grow up. We have people from Africa who came as slaves. We have people from India that came as laborers, various parts of India.
Your parents would be among them?
My grandparents or great-grandparents. We're talking about 1700s.
Wow.
Okay. And then we had people from France, of course, because they own a sugarcane field. And then we had people from China. So we threw these people on the island. There was nowhere to go. It's not like walking off the island like we can do now. It's basically you're stuck together. Different languages, different cultures, and basically you had no choice but to build something, right? Get along.
Wow.
So a true multicultural country.
A true multicultural country, and after 300 years, we were able to build what I call a Mauritian culture. So there's music that's unique to the island, that's called a sega, very rhythmic, very African-based. There is the language, of course, we all speak French and English, but we also speak a Creole, which is a patois Mauritian.
Different from the Asian Creole?
Different. It's different from that, but it's along the same lines in some ways. So we all speak at least 3 languages, but quite a few people speak 4 languages, because if you come from India, you might speak Hindi. If you come from China, you might speak Chinese, and so on. So we have all the religion. In fact, I went to Catholic school, Anglican school. And so we learn a lot, not just the culture, but the religion of the world, which today is very important for us to understand the religion of the world. But in Mauritius, we had the opportunity to live close and in peace with everybody.
So how goes it that you would leave paradise? You weren't kicked out, were you?
No, I was a good kid, so I was never kicked out. At 19, one of the things that we need to do in Mauritius if we want further studies is to go to either France or the UK. At that time, a lot of people went to the UK, but I was very, very fortunate. My parents welcomed some volunteers in Mauritius in the 1960s. The volunteers helped my family and then gave me a gift of going to a boarding school in York, north of England, where I really immersed in my English. So that was the wonderful journey again of being able to do that. I spent 6 months at the school, and it was hard.
You said a sports school.
A boarding school.
Oh,
A boarding school.
So you actually lived at the school?
I lived at the school.
Okay, for 6 months.
And no French, no other languages, just English. And I had to change my accent because you could never speak not proper Queen English in a boarding school. So that's where I obviously didn't practice the French at all and submerged myself in
And where did
English.
you go from there?
Yeah.
From there, I went to London and I attended a university called City University and did electronic engineering. I was again very, very fortunate because I had some, what I would call some parents, English parents in some ways. They really looked after me, and one of the things they did was to try to get me to be independent. So I found what they call at that time a sandwich course, which means that you study at university for 6 months and then you went in industry for 6 months.
You worked. Yes.
Wonderful experience.
Okay.
So I did a lot of the electronic manufacturing, quality control, and so on. So the experience in engineering was incredible, just because my parents were helpful to some volunteers that came to help in Mauritius.
Wow.
Wow.
And you met somebody very important in your life there, did you not?
Yes, there's 2 reasons why people leave Mauritius. One, to study, the second, to do nursing. And
Nursing.
my wife was a nurse.
Ah.
And I met her in 1980, around 79, 80. And we couldn't stay in England after my studies. So there is the journey to Canada started.
And is your wife from Mauritius as
My
well?
wife is from Mauritius, only about 2 or 3 miles from where I lived in Mauritius, but we met more formally in London.
Okay.
Okay.
And you moved because she got a job here?
She got a job first because as a nurse, you just apply, and 2 days later you get a telegram. At that time there was no email.
Yes,
So you get a telegram and say, take the next flight, you can come over right away. So she ended up in Drumheller, which is obviously a small town close to Alberta, to Calgary, and she started nursing, but then she realized it was a small town. So before I finished my studies in the UK, she moved to Calgary. And as a result, I joined her in Calgary.
Okay. And when did you start, or did you become really interested in the environment
And entrepreneurialism, starting businesses.
Yeah. The first opportunity I had is I worked in a company that focused on the petroleum industry. And they were doing hydrogen sulfide monitors. And I found an opportunity for taking care of carbon monoxide, which is a bigger problem
yes.
in buildings, commercial buildings, certainly in parkades. So as a result, I started Gasonic Instruments to focus on the commercial buildings.
And is this one of those?
Yeah.
This is one of the equipment. It actually detects carbon monoxide and would have a fairly high level alarm that would tell the people there's a problem. At the time that I started the company, the equipment wasn't precise. So they either wasted energy or they were not safe. As a result, I improved that. But there was a big surprise at the end. After I improved this, the safety of these buildings, I found out 2 buildings that we did had also reduced their energy by $50,000 per
How
year.
did that happen?
Per year. Because
Just with that monitor?
just with the monitor, in the sense that now you were turning the exhaust fans a lot more efficiently.
Only when necessary.
Only when necessary. So as a result of this, you save tremendous amount of energy. So I went to my other customers and say, hey, look what I found.
Yes.
And as a result, we're now saving $1 million worth of energy in Alberta.
Just among your
Just
clientele.
the monitors.
Just with the gas monitors, yes.
And you brought something else with that.
Yeah, I brought something else. The other thing I did was to look at other technologies that reduce energy. And this one is a very powerful LED technology. And I've got it in all my homes, and I've got it in all my office and my clients. I'm starting to put it in my clients' building.
So, and these replace?
These replace fluorescent lights.
Fluorescent tubes.
Fluorescent tube lights.
Yes, okay.
Right? It's a retrofit, which means we don't change the housing. We basically just change the light.
Just the tubes.
So the payback is about 2 years, but the energy is reduced tremendously, which is energy now that can be used for other things, like putting in to drive a car, for example. Yeah. And
yes.
Our project has resulted in 2.7 million kilometers on a car.
Of saved energy.
Just saved energy on a car.
Wow,
So
and you say the payback is in 2 years, but these are LED lights. They last 20 years, don't they?
They would last 50,000 hours, although we think it's going to last a lot longer because they work better.
So after 2 years, it's free.
It's free, basically.
Wow.
And so it's been an interesting journey, and I am promoting the lights in a big way, and hoping to reduce a tremendous amount of energy.
We've only got a little bit of time left.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that you walk the walk.
Yes.
Describe the systems in your house, if you can, in less than a minute.
Okay. I have I heat my water using the sun. I have 17 solar panels that produce enough electricity to run my electric car. I have a windmill that supplement my energy. I have 200 trees approximately that sequester the carbon. So I've been trying to become a net zero company and a net zero life, which is getting our carbon way down to zero.
wow,
And
that's
contributing.
So you try a lot of these technologies out personally.
I try a lot of the technologies before I would allow my customers to try them.
Yes. And your family must be a great supporter of that.
Yes, I mean, obviously it's hard work, and it's a
Yes.
question of spending a lot of time at work and meeting with clients and so on. They've been wonderful during this time, and I have a couple of kids that are doing their own things in the world.
Well,
Contribute.
let's have Kae back at another
Yes,
episode to
talk
talk some more about this.
the
Oh, that would be wonderful.
environment.
Yes.
That would be wonderful. I
So,
would love to do
Kate,
that.
thank you very much for being with us today and sharing all your wonderful inventions. We will be talking a bit more about those in a few minutes en français, so please stay with us. We continue en français.